In this video, we're going to show you how to code a button. Now this does go with my other video that showed you how to wire it. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to make a variable. So variable for a button, or you might have more than one button, so buttons. Will be an integer, so I put it into 7 as my input. So I'm just going to say button pin equals 7. Now you could have put this into any of them. You just change that number. Next, we need to tell the Arduino that yes, we're going to take in information. So we want to know when that button actually senses that electricity is there for it. So to do that, we're going to go into the setup, which runs once at the start. We're going to say the pin mode for this button pin is going to be a input. No, we want to take in information. So there we go. Now, at the very start of the program, we could do a digital read and see what's happening there. So we could do a digital read, and you just say what button pin you want, or what pin you want. So I could put just 7, but that's actually our button pin. Now, what this will read out as either a 0 or 1, that's part of the digital part. It's either on or it's off. You may not be able to see that, like nothing's going to show up if you do that. You may want to do a serial dot begin. And in there, I'm going to put 9600. It's just one of our defaults in there. Now from there, I could actually then do a serial dot write. And it will write this out as a 0 or 1. So what state is it in from the very start? Now I think this is blue because that's supposed to be a capital S and capital S there. So we got serial.begin, serial.write. Now inside of the loop, we can also do digital reads. Again, nothing's really going to happen. Like I can just copy and paste this here. Nothing's going to show up. You can use this in different ways. So we could again do a serial.write and we could see what's happening at that pin. But at this point, you probably want to use it for something. So maybe what's more valuable is to actually store the state somewhere. So meaning store if it's high or if it's low. So we could do up here, again, it's going to be an integer, and I could say button state. And to start, I'm going to assume it's a 0, that it's off. And in my loop, I could do a button state is equal to whatever that digital read is. So is that read 0 or 1? And then we're going to store it. Now, what would I use it for? Well, I could use it inside of an if statement. So let's imagine for a moment we've got LEDs plugged in a separate loop, and I want to turn that on or off. So I'll just put on, turn LEDs on. So I can go if the button state is equal to 1, so meaning I pressed it, and what do we want to do? Well, maybe we want a digital write, and let's just imagine, let's go up here and say, okay, we've got our button variables, we've got our LED variables. So that's going to be an int, and we'll just say it's our blue light, and that's going to be on pin 6. Now, of course, this does add some more complexity right away. So we're going to go down here into pin mode. We're going to do blue light as an output. Okay, so there we go. We've got quickly got an LED variable, a pin mode. If you want more information, there's a whole different video on how that works. So going down here then, I just need to tell the blue light to go to turn on, to go up to high, and we're good. Now we should note here the way I've coded this, the button state will probably change on and off repeatedly, but I only have one where the digital write is actually on high. So there's no way for that button to turn off or that light to turn off. So you could say else if. Now I'm going to write this one a little bit different. I'm going to pretend for a moment I don't have a button state variable. I'm just going to do a digital read right in here, and this is fine. It's a little harder to read because now I've got a lot going on in here. So I'm going to say if the digital read on that button pin is equal to 0, then I'll do a digital write. I'm just going to copy this just so this video is not getting too long. Then I want you to be off. Again, there are some issues here. That means as soon as I let go of the button, it's going to turn off. So you may not want that. As soon as we want to deal with, like, I want to be able to push it and it stays on, that's something a little bit beyond this video. Now, the nice thing about buttons, they're identical to the tilt switch. Really nothing actually has to change if I wanted this to be the tilt switch. You might want to label things differently, but all the code's identical. So at this point, if all you want to see was the button, you'd be able to stop. And really all I would have to do to change this to a tilt switch is maybe make this the tilt pin, make this the tilt state, and inside here, like, this isn't really doing anything. We're just changing the variable name. Everything else works the same. And even down here, we can say the same thing. So if you know how to do a button, you know how to do a tilt switch, there's nothing really else to learn. The bigger deal is how can we use this on and off idea to actually control what's happening.